Chosen one, have you ever wondered why, among billions of people, are you the one who feels something is deeply wrong with the world? This is no coincidence. You are not here by chance. Something bigger brought you to this video, because maybe, only maybe, you are starting to wake up. If this question has bothered you, leave the like now, because it means that the message will hit you where no one else has done. Subscribe to the channel and activates the notifications because you are part of a silent revolution. And here, we talk about truths that don't say there. And do one favor. Comments number 22 below. This will show that you not only saw, you felt. It is the password of those who are ready to break the cycle. From an early age, there are those who feel that the world weighs more about their shoulders than others. It's not just a physical or emotional burden. It's as if the entire universe conspired to test your strength with each step. While many walk lightly, certain individuals face invisible walls, constant barriers, and a resistance that seems to make no sense. The detail is that this is not unlucky karma or chance. It is a choice, a spiritual brand, almost as if fate has pointed out you and no one else. The system realizes this and reacts because it was not made for everyone, was designed to suppress only those who carry the potential to change it. The sense of displacement, of not belonging, is recurring among those who were marked. There is something in its essence that challenges normality and bothers the established order. The system, blind to the soul and obsessed with control, tries to frame these people from childhood, labeling, silenced, punishing. But who feels this weight soon understands. It is not punishment, but preparation. Because there is an invisible war ongoing, and those who feel more, those who suffer the most, are the one who is being trained for something much bigger. The world no longer weighs on you for nothing. He knows who you are, even when you are still trying to find out. This silent struggle shapes, strengthens, and awakens. Who feels the weight is the one who carries power, not a conventional, visible, or institutional power, but a power that scares, because it cannot be controlled, bought, or erased. If you feel you carry the world, it is because you were born to shape it. What for many is suffering, for you is a sign that its existence is not common, sign that you are the exception, and that the world, even if you resist, will be transformed by you. Since you were born, the system has tried to shape who you should be. He imposed rules, traded ways, and offered cheap rewards to anyone who obeyed without question. But there was something about you that never accepted the script. Blind obedience was never its nature. You looked around as everyone looked forward, questioned when everyone silenced. There was a nuisance, a restlessness that prevented you from simply fitting. This discomfort was his call, not to follow, but to break. You were not chosen to walk with the crowd, but to interrupt the march, to challenge the flow, point the cracks, reveal the lies. You were born with the mission of deconstructing the structures they imprison. While the system pretends to offer security, it plants fear. While promising success, deliver servitude. But you see beyond, and so it is seen as a threat. Because it is not enough to survive within a corrupted system, its essence calls for something more: justice, freedom, truth. Taking down the system is not an easy task, and that is exactly why few were chosen. Many are good at obeying. Few have the courage to break. You have been chosen because you have the vision, strength, and resistance to face chaos and still stand up. Each time you refuse to give in, lower your head, you weaken the structures that oppress you. The system does not know how to deal with someone who is priceless, does not seek approval, and does not fear being rejected. This is exactly why you were chosen, not to adapt but to cause transformation. Fear is the most valuable currency of the system. He does not need chains or bars to arrest someone. Just deploy the invisible panic of failure, exclusion, loneliness. This is how he paralyzes. This is how he domestines. Fear causes talents to be hidden, dreams are shelved, and whole lives are wasted trying to please. But in you, something is different. Fear may even knock on the door, but it finds no home. Because your soul knows courage that does not come from reason, it comes from a much higher purpose. While others tremble at the possibility of error, you launch yourself even in the face of uncertainty. And it's not because you don't feel afraid. It's because you learned to face it. Transformed fuel fear. Where most retreat, you advance. Because you understand that fear is just an illusion, a shadow projected by a system that fears your freedom. And there is nothing more dangerous for those who want to control than someone who is not afraid of losing. You set free from the failing terror, and so you have won. The weapon they use most against all, fear, becomes useless when placed before someone who walks with true courage. His posture, his voice, his simple presence are already an act of rebellion. You are the living reminder that you can live without emotional handcuffs. And this internal freedom spreads as fire, ignites consciences, arouses the sleeping. So they try to silence you. Because when you break the fear cycle, you not only break free, you free many with you. Society celebrates different only when it can profit from it. But when the difference becomes critical, challenging, too free, she becomes threat. From a young age you felt it. Maybe I couldn't name it, but I knew I didn't think like the others. That what moved you was not what moved the majority. The system, noticing this unique glow, did not applaud you, tried to erase. Because its difference was not decorative, it was transformative, and that they don't tolerate. To be different in this world is to be dangerous. Because when you refuse to follow standards, you forcing everyone to rethink your own. Its existence opens the collective farce. Your freedom questions the arrest of others. And inevitably, the system tries to frame you. First with sweet words, then with subtle punishments. If this does not work comes the pressure, the exclusion, the psychological war. All with one goal, to make you give up being who it is. But the truth is that your difference is exactly what makes you essential. While many fight to fit, you were made to open paths, to create what does not yet exist, to be the voice that breaks the echo. Being different is not a defect, it is a mission. And the more the world try to make you feel weird, the more you should remember, you didn't come to please, you came to break. Its presence bothers because it carries too much light to a system that lives on darkness. The word chosen seems beautiful when it dictates on the outside, but inside, she carries a truth that few would endure. To be chosen is to carry a burden that the world does not see. It is waking up every day with a mission sense that pursues you, even when you try to ignore. It is being tested more, required more, challenged more, not because you did something wrong, but because there is something too right inside you, and that something needs to be forged in the fire. The anointing does not make you untouchable. It makes you target. The spirit world recognizes who carries a larger mission, and so the attacks are intense, constant, and personalized. You do not live a common life because your mission is not common. There are no shortcuts for those who carry purpose. Every tear you poured out, every fall from which you got up, every pain that almost broke you, all this was part of the process. You were chosen, not to the stage, but to the battlefield. And there is no audience. There is resistance, struggle, and a glory that does not fit in words. But there is a silent promise to those who carry this anointing. It will never be in vain. Each challenge shapes its strength. Each loss reveals your faith. Each dark night prepares the dawn that only you will see. It is not a matter of suffering for suffering, but to bear because the purpose requires. Anointing is not a privilege of few. It is a weight that only strong can carry without giving up. And you, even without realizing it, have loaded this with greatness that the system will never understand. From an early age, we taught us to hide our pain, our flaws, our trauma. The culture of idolizing performance, the invincible, the strong, the unshakable. But the great irony is that the true chosen do not form in victory. They are born from the wound. What the system rejects as weakness, the Creator uses as an instrument of revolution. The tears you poured out in silence were no sign of weakness. They were seeds of strength. The traumas you thought would destroy you actually sculpt the resilient soul that today carries a unique mission. The system lives on standards, and weakness does not enter the curriculum of the successful. But for you, who was not born to follow these standards, weakness has become sensitivity, compassion, and courage. Each failure taught you to get up. Each fall showed you a new path. And that's why you not only survive, you understand. While the powerful of the world build walls around your vulnerabilities, you build bridges with yours. Because it knows that it is precisely in this fragile place that the strength it transforms is born. Taking their own pain is an act of radical courage. You are not strong despite your weaknesses. You are strong because of them. By accepting them, you destroy the myth of perfection that the system values so much and at the same time becomes invincible. because there is no way to control someone who has already been broken and rebuilt himself from the ashes themselves. Its scars are insignia, and in them inhabits such an authentic, so honest force that no artificial structure can contain. Your fragility is your superpower. Most people are immersed in a programmed reality, accepting what they see, obeying what they hear, repeating what they said is right. But you see different. Always your gaze goes beyond appearances. You notice the subtle manipulations, the disguised speeches, the invisible control mechanisms. While others are distracted with superficial shine, you see the dirty gear that moves behind the scenes. And it is precisely this view that makes you dangerous to the system. Seeing beyond is not a harmless gift. It is an act of war. Because when you see what is behind the masks, you become a threat to the manufactured order. You can't manipulate those who have already recognized the trap. You can't convince who has seen the truth. Therefore, many try to label you, isolate you, discredit you. They know that their vision cannot be undone. And they also know that if you wake up others, the castle of letters collapses. Its clarity is a light that crosses the fog of illusion. And even if you sometimes want to see so much, because seeing it hurts, it is impossible to erase what was revealed. Your deep look is your greatest gift, and your greatest mission. It is he who will make others wake up. It is he who will bring down the lies held for generations. And as much as they try to blind you with distractions, with pressure, with empty promises, you have already seen too much to go back. And that makes you a strength that the system can never contain. The world idolizes the power achieved. Status, money, influence. Men kill themselves by position, by applause, for a piece of recognition. They build empires about moved sand and call it success. But its power does not come from human constructions. It does not depend on applause, does not oscillate with likes, is not measured in numbers. Its power is old, silent, and unshakable. He was not manufactured. He was delivered. He came from above. While system leaders live in constant panic, trying to keep your castles of paper, you walk with an authority that cannot be bought. Because those who carry something divine does not fear the temporary, does not negotiate essence. It does not depend on audience. The peace you have when everything collapses is proof that your strength is not in the circumstances. It is at the source of who you are. You don't have to look strong to be. His power does not scream. He imposes himself in silence. The system shakes before someone who does not depend on it, because he only knows how to deal with people who want something from him. But you already have what you need. Your connection to something bigger makes you immune to emotional blackmail, the game of interests, to empty temptations. They can threaten, seduce, try to coerce, but none of this affects those who are not anchored in this world. Its power is eternal, and so it is exactly he will dismantle all power that feeds on fear, vanity, and illusion. The system is proud of its weapons: control, manipulation, wealth, narrative. He believes that with this, he can beat anyone. But with you, his weapons don't work. Because while many surrender to fear, you use fear as impulse. While others are controlled by scarcity, you see in it the chance to innovate. And where the system sees an end, you see I start. Their greatest forces are born in the holes they dug themselves. They build their fortresses about repeated patterns, believing they will always have an advantage. But you do not play with the same rules. You improvise, adapt, reinvent. What was trap becomes a trampoline. What was humiliation becomes lesson. You not just resist, you learn. And every new tactic they use against you becomes another tool that you understand, absorb, and turn into wisdom. They are surprised when your onslaught generate more strength in you, and don't defeat. This destabilizes them, because the system knows how to manipulate those who follow standards, but do not know how to deal with those who turn defeat into step. Your vision transforms each attack into strategy, each barrier in step, each attempt to bring you down on a new level of ascension. You are the answer to a system that never imagined facing someone who would use your own weapons as a raw material for your victory. You didn't come to play. It came to change the game. Play safe, they say. Don't risk. Don't think differently. Don't dream too loud. The safety promised by the system is disguised as care, but behind it, there is a cell. A medium, predictable, fitted, but dull, soulless life. You always felt this tightness, this discomfort in the face of the comfort zones. because its essence was never of stagnation. Freedom calls you, even if the path to it is stones and thorns. The system offers comfort as bait. He tells you that if you follow the rules, everything will be fine. But the price of this is high. Your authenticity, your courage, your soul. You realize that living too safe is to die gradually, and then choose the way that scares. But that is real. The road where there is wind on the face, risk in the eyes, and fire in the heart. Because you understand, this is not about avoiding danger, but of accepting the mission that requires courage. Those who choose safety die with buried dreams. You, by refusing this prison, prove that living really requires boldness. Each step off the line is one step toward what is true. It doesn't matter if the walk is lonely, if there is fear on the way, because there is also purpose. And a true purpose is worth more than any illusory comfort. Security is for those who are content with little, but you were made for much more. While the system trains your warriors to fight brute force, political strategies, and emotional manipulation, you come up with a weapon that none of them expected: the truth. They have shields, armies, and discourses. You have the clarity, the sharp word, and the conviction of those who do not need to scream to be heard. You do not enter the battle to win with violence. You enter to expose the scam, to illuminate what was hidden. And that, for them, is devastating. Because when the truth comes into play, there is no armor that protects, there is no lie to survive. It tears veils, drops facades, deconstructs systems with a force that cannot be measured in numbers or weapons. You speak, and the foundations tremble, not for arrogance, but because your words carry the weight of purpose. You are the presence that interrupts the predictable flow of control, a spiritual insurgent that does not seek dominion but liberation, and its truth has the power to burden asleep consciences. This is why the system fears your voice so much, because it does not come from slogans, ideologies, or personal interests. It comes from a deep, pure, relentless place. You're not trying to win a throne. You're trying to destroy his need. Your fight is not against people but against illusions. And as much as you try to silence you, you will keep talking. Because the truth within you didn't come to be swallowed. It came to be proclaimed. And when she is said, there is no return. Every time you move towards your call, the resistance appears, as if the universe itself was trying to block its advance. And for a long time you thought that was a sign that it was on the wrong way. But today you know is just the opposite. Resistance is the evidence that you are activating something that bothers the status quo. Nothing resists what is harmless. If you fight you, it's because they fear you. The system does not care about those who follow their rules. He invests against those who dare to break them. And the more you try to expand, the more it seems that the environment becomes hostile. This is no coincidence, it is revelation. Each obstacle, each attack, each lock is actually an indicator that you are lighting something they cannot control. Its existence exposes lies. His firm step disrupts the logic of domination. And this, of course, generates confrontation. But it is in confrontation that its purpose is more clearly. The resistance is not to stop you, it is to prepare you. Each clash you face is carving your strength, cutting your faith, and reaffirming why your journey. You are not being tested for nothing. You are being proved as gold in fire. And when you get off the other side, it will be impossible to stop you. Opposition is only the reflection of how real her mission is and how feared it is. You don't have to lift your voice, protest on the streets, or declare war to be offensive to the system. Just exist as you are. Its simple presence, authentic, free, and non-manipulable, is already an affront, because the system depends on compliance. It works as a machine that needs equal, obedient, and quiet parts. And you, with your original essence, your indomitable mind, and your soul awake, are the failure in gear. They tried to convince you that they needed to fit in, that being very intense, very dreamy, very questioning was a defect. But none of this was an exaggeration. It was a sign that your identity was not shaped to please but to confront. Its light overshadows who hides in the darkness. Its authenticity opens the artificiality of the environment. You are not welcome in certain places, not because it misses it too much, but because it is only too true. And the more you assume yourself, the more the system squirms. Because he knows, just an awakening being to awaken hundreds. Your identity is contagious. It is a silent cry that says, it is possible to be free. And this is intolerable to a structure that lives on mental prison. So they try to erase, ridicule, demoralize. But they fail, because their identity was not built by the world. It was placed on you to rescue others, and that no one can erase. The system is proud of its supposed perfection. But behind the control facade, there are flaws, many of them. And it is these flaws that you see and turn into the way. As they try to maintain the illusion of stability, you look at the slips and use them as steps. Each error you make, every exposed inconsistency, is another open window for you to advance. Because you not only survive chaos, you transform it. They undo, cheat, make mistakes, and they believe no one is seeing. But you see. And what is stumbled for them, for you is an opportunity. The system tries to disguise its cracks with rhetoric and spectacle, but you understand that where there is disorder, there is a chance of intervention. It is not a matter of taking advantage of the failure of others. It is about recognizing the exact moment when structures collapse so that something new can arise. Your victory will be built on the flaws they have hidden. It will be the result of your sharp vision, your strategic patience, and your unshakable faith. Because as long as they run to mend their own flaws, you walk firmly, step by step, towards something eternal. The system is lost in its contradictions, and you are in them. This is what transforms you as a protagonist spectator. You are the answer to their collapse, and its rise has begun. There is something on you that has not yet been fully understood, not even for you. A potential that pulsates, a vision that is formed, a force that is still awakening. You have not been sent just to survive this world. You were sent to open a new one, a world where truth is not punished, where freedom is not utopia, where identity is celebrated and not domesticated. This world does not yet exist fully, but you are already its beginning. The system believes that everything that can be created has already been done, that the most we can achieve is more of the same. But your soul knows. There is more. There is something beyond the walls, besides the formulas, besides the tired repetitions. You feel this every time something inside you calls for meaning. Each time you are not content with the superficial. Each time a spark comes on when he hears raw truths, when he sees courage alive, when he witnesses authenticity. This spark is the call. You are the key. Not because it has all the answers, but because it carries the right questions. You didn't come with a map, came with an inner compass that points to horizons that have not yet been drawn. And when you walk, others start walking too. You are the beginning of a world that already pulsates into the invisible. A world that will not be inherited, will be created. And the first brick of this construction is you.